Welcome to this episode of the Happy Workaholic podcast. I'm your host, Kellyanne Gorman. I'm a business and LinkedIn coach as well as a luxury brand consultant, and I help business owners take their brands to the next level by implementing my personal techniques when it comes to growing their service, sales, and social media. Over the past 20 years, I've grown multiple brands in the beauty, hospitality, health, and luxury travel markets. I've exceeded all of their expectations, and I'm here to share my tips and tricks on how I did it. Inspiration, motivation, and determination are what got me to where I am today. And trust me, living with an autoimmune disease is never an easy task. So you can definitely expect some pretty crazy stories shared here as well. Don't forget, the conversations happen after each episode in the Happy Workaholic podcast Facebook group. That's where I'll be every week to answer all of your questions. Now, if you want to hear any of my exclusive news first, just visit thehappyworkaholic.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and be sure to sign up for my weekly VIP newsletter. Now, let's get started with today's show. Hey everyone, it's Kelly from thehappyworkaholic.com, and welcome back to today's show. Today is a very special day. It marks the beginning of Chapter 2 of the Happy Workaholic podcast. Today is episode number 81. And although many podcasts that you listen to are seasons, I decided to make mine different and call them chapters. And I feel like I'm starting a new chapter in my life, and being in San Diego and just turning 40, and it's the second half of 2018, which I cannot believe. And it's a year that I've had this show. My very first episode was on July 2nd last year, and it's just so amazing that I was able to power through like some tough times with my autoimmune disease and still get these episodes out for you. It's just an honor that you're here spending time out of your day listening to me ramble on about a lot of different topics. And this show, I do this show for you guys. I like to provide content for your business. I like to provide information on autoimmune diseases and how I personally get through it, because I just feel like if I'm able to help one other person, then I'm doing something right. And I'm just so excited that you're here for Chapter 2, and also this podcast, which I've said a million times if you've listened to a lot of episodes, originally started off as a book. So I thought that everything happens in threes. So I decided that Chapter 2 was going to start today, and that's that. So being able to run your own business and be a creative, you're able to make changes to your content. There's no rules. You can do whatever the heck you want. And I don't care what anybody's ever told you, but it's up to you to pave the way for yourself. Like, create the content that you want, create a working schedule that you want, create the days of the week that you want to work on and on your business. And it's really up to you. So I just wanted to preface that because today I want to talk about what I do at the end of the month. Well, I should say the first of every month. Today is July 1st, which I cannot believe. It's also one of my best friend's birthdays, so I have to call her because she's 40 as well. God, we're all turning 40 this year. It's like insane to me. Anyway, so every first of the month, as far as all of my business to-dos go, I use the first of the month to tally up all my numbers for myself and my clients for our social media. I have them all organized in Excel spreadsheets. If you ever want a copy of that, just send me an email or shoot me a message on my website, thehappyworkaholic.com, and I'd love to share with you. It's really just a simple Excel spreadsheet that I plug in the numbers at the end of every month for all of our social media stats. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, my podcast numbers, my Facebook group numbers, my email subscriber list, all of that gets plugged in so I can see the growth. I'm a numbers person when I'm looking at it. It really helps educate me on how the percentage needs to increase per month, per follower, per everything. I tally up everything every first of the month so that I can get the totals from the last, obviously. And that's something that I do for myself. I've been doing it for years. I do it for all my clients so that they can see their growth. Now that I have podcast clients, I'm tracking their downloads, and it's just something really great to look at, especially if you're going to put together a deck to pitch brands so that they can see your growth. That would be a really excellent idea for you to do. And that's one of the first things that I do. That I do. I've had this awful allergy cough this morning, but I'm recording and powering through it anyway. I track everything the first of the month. I prepare my whole month at a glance, all my social media, what I need to do for myself, what I need to do for my clients. I go over their goals. I go over my goals. All of that for my business is done on the first of the month. It's just like a clean slate. There's nothing better than opening my planner and having nothing there. I get to create content. I get to put out to-do lists for myself and my clients. I get to schedule all of our coaching calls, and I get to schedule podcast interviews and Zoom video calls and Facebook video chats and all that. Like, I get to schedule a whole month, and it's just, I really love the first day of the month. Like, I'm so hyped up. Can you tell? The last couple of episodes, I was definitely going through a lot of stuff, so you could probably hear it in my voice, but this podcast is my story, and I'm just sharing my journey of life along with whoever chooses to listen, and I'm giving you tips and tricks on everything business, LinkedIn, and my life with an autoimmune disease, and that is why I have this show. And I'm just so lucky I get to do this. I'm bringing on sponsors. I'm going to have the I Chose This Life series, which I've been talking about forever. It's finally happening. You're going to be hearing amazing interviews with myself and other female entrepreneurs, and you get to hear their story. Something else that I wanted to share with you guys is there's another podcast. There's a million podcasts I listen to, but one of the podcasts I listen to is the Awesome Show with Alison, the Alison Show. And she is so amazing. It's with her husband, Eric, too. It's like on their media. They're hilarious. They're so inspiring, and I just love them. And one of her past episodes, she, interviewed Rachel Hollis, which is the writer. She wrote the book, Girl Wash Your Face, I believe it's called, which I haven't read, but so many of my clients have and my friends, so I feel like I need to read that next. I'm so behind on my book reading lately. But she was writing down a list of 10 things to do every single day until they were done, and then you would replace it or just cross it off. And that's something, if you know me and if you follow me on social media, I am a queen bee of list making and writing down to-dos and all of that. Like, I'm such a schedules person. I'm super organized, and I love a good to-do list. I can't lie. So she's been writing down 10 things, and if you don't do them, you have to rewrite them the next day, 10 things. So I've been doing that since I listened to that show, and I'll drop the proper name for that in the show notes because I might be messing it up. But she is so inspiring, and it's such a good list and a good way of writing your to-dos. I do that every day, but you just need to be repetitive because it's telling your brain, like, okay, I need to get these 10 things done. So I've been doing that with a couple things, like I said, since I've listened to that show, and I think it was about 2 weeks ago, maybe even 3. And I have crossed off almost half of that list, and they were like big items, personal health stuff, and then work to-dos. And one of them was to finally get my shop page up on my website, which will be done by tomorrow. I started it today, and I just have a lot of affiliate links, and a lot of people always ask me, like, who do I use for my website or my podcast and oils and all this stuff. So you can now find that on thehappyworkaholic.com and click the shop page, and all those links will be there tomorrow, which will be July 2nd. Because I just need to confirm a couple things on the back end. But that is something that will be for sure crossed off tomorrow because I have been wanting to add that page. It's so simple, but I just haven't had the time. I wanted to add that page to my website, and I would say do the same for you as well. If you have a website and you want to share your affiliate links where you get a kickback every month, and why not? Put it out there. Let people know like what products you love, what products you're using and would want to share with your viewers or your following. So I finally got that up there. And I need to put the episode in the show notes because you guys will love this episode of hers. It's so good. But going back to my end of month to-dos and my personal end of month to-do list, something else I always do is I have everything neatly organized, of course, because why wouldn't it be, on my desktop, on my computer, and I have all my files and I label it by the month. So I had June Dropbox. So everything that goes in there is everything I've worked on for myself, for my clients. It just gets put in that folder throughout the entire month. At the end of the month, I then move them to the specific folders of clients or things that I'm working on where they belong, and I copy and paste it in my Dropbox for my clients. And then for myself, I have my own Dropbox because of room, obviously, and then I back it up on my computer as well. So I have a hard drive and I have it on Dropbox. So I have it in two locations. Some of them are actually 3 and 4, depending on how important these things are. But if something were to ever happen, I will not have to stress out about it because all of my computer is backed up in multiple locations. That's something I would highly suggest because I've been in situations where I was saying many prayers that I would not lose all of my data that was on my computer when I caught a virus. So definitely do that. If you're not organized online, that is something I would highly suggest. Everything is in a strategically placed folder on my desktop. And then at the end of the month, everything goes to where it belongs. And so that way my desktop is clean. There's only folders, all the documents. I have like a to-do and I have a learn and I have a Dropbox. And they all go in those folders throughout the entire month. And then the first of the month when I'm doing all of my organization and following up and tasks and to-dos and all that fun stuff, it's taking care of that day. So that's something, if you're not doing, I would highly recommend. Something else that I decided to do, and I've said it a couple times, is increase my pricing. So there's a number of reasons behind it, which I've gone over on other shows. But I'm living in a more expensive environment, and that is my choice. But there's also other things involved when you go to increase your pricing. You know, it's the demand and the time and the effort and everything you're working on. And there's just like a million other things that I've already got into on another show. So I don't really want to go too in-depth about that. But for me personally, the time was now. I'm getting really busy and I wanted to increase my pricing because I haven't done it in a while. And I just felt in my gut, and I always go with my gut, that the time was now. So if you check out my website, you will see all new pricing. I've been running a 6/10 sale the entire month of June. And that was because I knew I was increasing my pricing, and it wasn't a surprise. I put it out there, like, let your people know, like, this is happening. So I increased my pricing, and I feel so confident, and I feel so good about it because our time is worth money. And if you love what you do, like, let it show. Like, you get more clients that way. And so for me, I just felt like the time was now, so I did it. So that's something else that I did. And something else I checked out was this website called Upwork. And I've heard about it through two people over the last couple of weeks. And so I finally checked it out. And if you're not on Upwork, you should. Whether you're somebody that needs help or you're somebody looking for work, you can register and you're basically like a freelancer, and you put, I think it allows you 10 to 15 jobs that you're able to do. So whether it's social media, editing podcasts, building websites, lending your voice for other podcasts, voice talent, all of that stuff. Excuse me, I might have to edit this show. I was not expecting my cough to be so bad today. So I registered myself on Upwork, and it's just freelance jobs. And I thought it would be so cool to see like what it has to offer. So if you're somebody looking for that, just go to Upwork.com. I believe it is. I'll drop it in the show notes. And check that out, whether you're looking for somebody to handle your social media, or you're somebody that does social media and is looking for new clients. It's a great way to put yourself out there. So I would just check that out either way, because it was literally a 5-minute process to get everything uploaded there. And then something else I've been working on is getting all of my reviews and testimonials in one place, and all of my portfolio work in one place. And I'm finally there. I'm just waiting for a couple more reviews, because whenever somebody asks to see your work, you want to be proud to show them like who you've worked with, what you've worked on. And that's something that I was always just so busy and I never really focused on. But over the last couple of months, I've taken the time to make sure I get all of that and upload the links and all that fun operational stuff to my website, because it's really, really important. I work a lot on referrals. So people want to see my work. People want to see who I've been working with. And if they want to ask them questions and see their branding or their website or podcast, whatever I've done for them, their LinkedIn, they can see all of that work on my website. So if that's something that, if you are a business owner and you work in the digital space, you really should have those dedicated pages, because it's just going to up the game for your own work for another client. I promise you, because it's definitely done it for me. And speaking of groups, I wanted to talk to you guys about Facebook groups. Do you love them or do you hate them? Because a lot of groups I'm in are super empowering and motivating entrepreneurs like myself, and business owners that are females, like female bosses. And some of them are just so spammy, and some of them are amazing. And I've met like the greatest women online. I've been able to work with a lot of them as well. And my Facebook group, the Happy Workaholic Podcast Facebook group, was originally going to be for the after show and my Facebook Lives, specifically for this podcast, but I'm turning it into, and I have already, into an online business networking group as well. So if you want to come in, do a Facebook Live, tell us what you're working on, tell us what you need help with. I want this group to be a place to come for motivation, inspiration, and empowerment. If there's any spam, it's getting rid of. If there's any like crazy link droppers, like spammy, that's just not okay. So you're not going to be in the group. So I just wanted to say that, but I doubt that's going to happen, but you never know. There's always that one, right? Anyway, so I'm going to be doing a lot more Facebook Lives in that group and sharing more business tips over there and discussing these shows after the show. So obviously the after shows happen in there. So I'm going to be going live about a day or so after each show, so that I can discuss more with all the listeners, that's you, in the Facebook group. So besides that and Instagram TV, are you on Instagram TV yet? Everybody is jumping on the IGTV wagon. And I uploaded, I think I have two videos up there, but it's definitely going to be more of like my life focused, where you'll get little pieces of like my meal prepping, which I'm obsessed with, by the way. And I just did some sweet potato meal prepping earlier today. But it's going to be business tips, LinkedIn tips, podcast tips, meal prepping tips. I guess it's just going to be a whole IGTV tip show. I don't know. But I'm definitely going to be recording more for IGTV as well. So if you want to connect, I'd love to see your show as well. You can find me on Instagram at The Happy Workaholic. That's where you can see my feed, my everyday stories. And that's something else a lot of people are going back and forth on, is IGTV and Instagram stories. Stories, you can use hashtags, and that's how people find you, as well as the geo filters, right? So I would continue to use those. IGTV is a whole nother ballgame and a whole nother platform, really, inside of Instagram. So whether you are above 10K or less than 10K, your minimum, your video is allowed to be 10 minutes long if you're under 10K. If you're over, you can do 1 hour. I'm sure that's going to change. But right now, everyone, especially all these influencers and Instagram creators, have put out a lot of IGTV episodes. So if you haven't checked them out, go find your favorite people on Instagram because they're really, really good content that's getting shared right now. And that's what I hope to do as well. So, I cannot believe this is chapter 2, episode 81. I've done it. I've done a whole year almost, minus like 2 days. No, 1 day. Tomorrow's July 2nd. So, 1 whole year of this podcast. It's just unbelievable. I can't wait to share more with you guys. What I've been working on and everything I mentioned, I will put those links below in the show notes. And as always, you can shoot me an email at hello@kellyanngorman.com or just visit thehappyworkaholic.com and send me a message through my website. I'm always online. I would love to connect with you. And thank you so, so much for listening to today's episode. It's a very special one. I might even do another 1-year anniversary tomorrow. Who knows? I'm feeling much more motivated and inspired. I've done a lot of work on my computer today. I've recorded the show. I've meal prepped a little bit. I've done laundry. I'm going to do some errands, go for a walk, and go to the beach because it has been calling my name all week, and I cannot believe I haven't been there all week. It's just been a crazy, hectic week. Before I completely lose my voice again, I'm going to go. If you guys have any questions about anything that I discussed on today's show, please reach out, come follow me, ask me anything, and don't forget to come on over to the Facebook group, the Happy Workaholic Podcast Facebook group, and continue all of our conversations over there. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend and leave me a review on iTunes. It really means a lot. I cannot wait to talk to you guys again soon with all new announcements. Until next time, you guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. If you like this episode, please let me know by writing me a review on iTunes for the Happy Workaholic podcast. I would truly appreciate it. As I always say, sharing is caring. Don't forget, the after show happens after each episode in the Happy Workaholic podcast Facebook group. That's where I'll be to answer all of your questions. Now, just so you know, I have been spending so much more time on my Instagram, and I would love to connect with you over there. You can find me at The Happy Workaholic, and don't forget to tag me when listening to an episode so that I can feature you on my Instagram stories. For any other information regarding The Happy Workaholic, just visit thehappyworkaholic.com. I hope that you are having a wonderful week, and I will talk to you again soon.